Hi, I'm Brady Mentor, and this is my open source contribution review. The project that I decided to contribute to is called 100 Lines of Code. It is a collection of different programs that are all written in 100 lines or less, and it's really mainly for developers to test themselves and see what kind of things they can create. But it's also a great collection of different smaller applications or games that users could download the repository and work off of or play. For me, I knew that I wanted to make a new feature, so I opened an issue. You can see it right here. And I suggested to make a simple console game of Connect 4. After completing that, I of course made my pull request. It is yet to be approved, but it is here. It is a game of Connect 4 in less than 100 lines. So I had to make sure that I could do everything the way that it is formatted to keep with their coding style. They have a folder, and inside the folder they have a README and the file of whatever program you are running in 100 lines or less. I was able to find this here in the contributing.md file, where it gives you guidelines on how to get started and if this is your first contribution on your first pull request. So I was able to follow all of that and make sure that everything worked well. Here you can see my local branch that I worked off of and my actual files. This just tells you how to execute the command in the terminal. And here you can see the actual Python code that I added to be a functioning game of Connect 4. Here, if I have it open, you can see what it will do is print out the board every turn and ask you, depending if you're player X or player O, where you want to put your chip. Say column 2, and then you can see at the bottom of column 2 is a chip. And of course, the chips stack on top of each other. And if they get to the top, it'll tell you, oh, that row is full, you have to try again. So that's the code that I was able to implement. I would say what turned out about the way I expected is keeping in check with their contributing file and making sure that I did everything the way that they like things done, as well as just following like a lot of good projects do. They have a great README file that kind of explains what you need to do to help and how to open an issue and what kind of things you need to say. I think that worked about the way that I expected it to. Never done something like this, so it was a little different for me. But I also didn't really expect it to be so difficult to find a project to contribute to that has a code base that is easy enough for beginners to really get into, or a lot of code bases that have good first issues are very popular and are difficult to get something assigned to you because so many people are trying to do it for their first contribution. So that was really probably the most difficult part about this. I did learn about kind of what it means to fork a repository and to work in your own branch and how pull requests work. So I do think I really learned quite a bit about how the whole Git system works, how to work in one place and request to merge it in another. And I think maybe in the future I would look to try and find something with a code base a little more complex than this and try and maybe fix a bug, because I think that fixing a bug compared to making a feature requires a lot of the time a much better understanding of the code base in the first place to make sure that you don't mess anything up or that you can actually figure out what's wrong in the first place. So yeah, that is the code that I submitted, and that's my project.